Welcome back to webcam view. We have business. So we understand what nodes are and what scenes are. We also understand that my microphone is in the shot. I might leave it just to be stupid. How do you know when a node does something? And how does one node do something and then tell another node that it did it? How do you know? If you're familiar with C# because you're a Unity dev, you might know about actions. If you're like, oh yeah, actions, I know that. Keep that in the back of your mind while I explain this. Let's draw a node. They tend to be circles, right? I'm going to give them like little eyes and a face and stuff. Here's Nody McNoderson. And he wants to tell his friend, let me get a green for this. That he just got done doing some kind of action. His friend, Nodesworth von Nody, doesn't really know that he's done anything. See, he's got a question mark. That's how you know. How does he tell him? He uses a signal. Remember that word because you'll be screaming it later. Signal. So, this is really goofy, but this is how I think of signals. You got your node. Nody McNoderson. It's almost like he stands in the middle of a field and he fires up his little signal gun. It's not a real gun, it's a signal gun. And that's how he tells somebody that he has completed doing something, or he's been clicked on, or something's gotten his space, or whatever. We can define that. But he will send that up. If, good night, what did I call him? Nodesworth von Nody, I think, is connected to that signal. And he's going to see that. He's going to see that signal. And he's going to know that he has to take some action. Maybe he plays a sound. Maybe he does something with a variable. Maybe he shows a picture. I don't know. That's all defined in code. But that's the easiest and best way to think about signals, I promise, is your node standing in a field and sending it up. The nodes that are connected will see the signal and they will do something. Let's go to Godot and see what in the world I'm even talking about. Hi, welcome back to Godot. I'm going to add another node. It's Godot. You're going to get very used to doing that. Timer. I'm going to add a timer node. Create. Right now, the dice just kind of rolls in perpetuity. You can't stop it at all. We're going to make the dice stop on its own. Because if you think about it, if you throw a real dice, it will, if it's one of the cube dice anyway, it will at some point stop spinning, right? Okay. So, over here in the inspector, Godot will define wait time in seconds. I'm going to set it to 1. You can set it to whatever makes you happy. Not a big deal. One shot, I'm going to check. That means as soon as the timer reaches the end, it just stops. Otherwise, it'll just keep beeping off once every second. So, over here in our code, first of all, I want the code to be able to talk to the timer, so we've got to define it. Good old on ready. Var timer, and it is of a type timer. And Godot, I want you to look and find the thing named timer. Yep, got it. Love it. I'm going to change this to unhandled input. This will likely change later. Ta-da, just like that. We're going to make this UI click again. We're familiar with this code. We've already written it. Input dot is action just pressed. Our good old UI click. Colon goes at the end. So I do want it to roll. And I want the timer to start. You're never going to guess what I get to type to start the timer. Told you I love GD script. I love GD script. Okay. So right now the timer starts, but it doesn't really do that much. Like if I start the game up, I can click to roll it. And the timer probably did start. We don't have a lot of proof on that, but it's not doing too much. So how do we know? Like the timer clicks down 1 second. And then how do we know that it did that? Through a signal. Through a signal. If you click on any node, but right now we're going to click on the timer and go over here to the node tab, here's all of the predefined signals that Godot has for this thing. I'm going to use the timeout. This signal fires, remember the metaphor with the little signal gun. The node's going to stand in the field and fire this whenever 1 second passes. But somebody's got to be connected to it. So let's double click. Is it not double click in 4? Okay, let's right click, I guess, and click connect. I don't know what you Mac people have to do, poor you. But we're going to connect it up to the dice and click connect. And Godot writes us a function. This blue symbol over here means that it's connected. You can also come over here and look in the... Did I say blue? That is green. The green symbol, why can't I talk, means that it's connected. You can also see it over here in the node tab if you ever have a question on it. Just to prove that it's working. Let's have our animation player play. You can pick any one of the numbers. I'm just going to do 1. So what this code should do is when we click, it'll play roll, and then it'll count down 1 second. When that second finishes, this node sends up its signal, uses the signal gun, and dice sees it in the field. When it sees it, it's going to run this function. And it's going to have the animation player play 1. So in theory, we should be able to click, see it roll, and then see a 1. See what we got. Click 1. Just in case, we'll undo this later. But if you want to see it better, I'll move it to like the middle of the screen. Do it again. There it is. Click 1. Done. It's kind of a cruddy dice though. Like it only shows you 1 number. We'll fix that later. And it also doesn't... We as humans know that that dice is showing 1, but it's not really sending that out in a functional way that a computer would understand. So let's figure it out. I'm going to make a new variable here. And this variable is going to be when the dice rolls, what number does it come up with? I'm going to just call it dice roll. Could type this as an int, couldn't I? You should never, unless you're using the D&D percentile dice, you should never come up with a float on a dice roll. My goodness. Godot has a couple of ways to generate random numbers. We're going to use the function. Whoops, no, we're not. Randi range. This isn't Randy range. It looks like it, but it's not. It's rand I range. The I stands for int because remember, we're not making a float. We don't want this dice to roll 3.2. It can only roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Speaking of, it wants us to give a range from what to what. Well, the lowest on the dice is 1, and the highest on the dice is 6, right? And just right now, we're going to just print and see. Whoops, forgot my underscore. We're going to just print and see what roll we come up with. All right. Let's run it. Let's roll. It's going to show us a 1 because that's what we've got hard coded. But look down here. We rolled a 3. Now we rolled a 4. And a 4. And a 3. And a 4. And a 6. So when you're dealing with true random, you can get anything. We could be getting a 3 this whole time. It looks like it's giving us, I haven't gotten a 2 or a 1. There's a 2. Can I get a 1? Okay, I don't know if this is worth just like blowing this much time in the video on, but it's working. It's working. So, do you play Minecraft? Are you familiar with the idea of seeds? If you're not, just put extremely simply, seeds are a collection of values that a computer uses to generate random numbers. In Minecraft, it uses seeds as a collection of numbers to generate random blocks. But in Minecraft, blocks, numbers, it's about the same thing. In Godot, anytime you start using random anything, it's a good idea to, in one of your ready functions, put randomize, and that randomizes the seed. That's a debugging thing that makes sure that we get randomer numbers. If you ever have to debug something and you need it to like put out kind of consistently the same seed, just delete random. Pretty quick. Like I said, I'm trying to keep these fairly short, so I'm gonna stop here for now. Except we are gonna fix one bug that I should have fixed a couple of episodes ago, honestly. I am in our main scene, and I'm gonna take pink piece, and I'm gonna move him to start, which actually causes an almost goofier bug. Watch this. On first click, he doesn't move anywhere. Now he's moving. Let's fix it. See where int equals 0? It's going to the 0 spot, which is start. I want it to go to the first spot. So just change int to 1, and it should work. And it does. Nice. All right. That is all for me. I will see you next week. Have a good one.